And we're back. This is Elliot Serrano and Jose Melendez coming to you from Dreamline Comics in Schaumburg, Illinois. Thank you for joining us here on CCW TV, the Comic Culture Warrior video channel. So we had two Marvel books. One left us full of meh, while the other one had us full of wow. Let's go on to two Marvel books that did fill us with wow, or full of win, as they say, right? First, Atlas, the relaunch, the third relaunch of Agents of Atlas.
I think Atlas will be the new Spider-Girl, which just will never die.
It'll never die.
As long as Jeff Parker's at Marvel, he's going to be writing it.
With by Jeff Parker, with artwork by Gabriel Hardiman.
Yes.
And no, there was a, who did the backup feature? Was it? Because I liked how he continued that.
Oh, Ramon Rosanas.
Ramon Rosanas. Okay. Well, with Atlas, you know, after the last Agents of Atlas series ended, and then you had the Atlas versus Avengers mini, and then you had the backup going on in Incredible Hulk.
Yep.
Atlas is back again in its own series. And
then you had the Marvel Boy miniseries.
Marvel Boy mini, the Uranian.
But that was the Uranian, but that was like in the past, though. It wasn't a current series.
Atlas returns, and again its own series, and you have the 3D Man kind of hooking up with Atlas. I love how Jeff Parker's like, you know, screw this whole triathlon thing. Because I remember when Busiek brought back 3D Man, and I'm sure you know Busiek really liked the idea of 3D Man, but this was during a time when fanboys would be somewhat intolerant of some cheesy 50s flashback.
And now the 3D is all the rage.
Now 3D is all, yeah. Now 3D Man is back. You know, and even the character himself says, you know, enough of this triathlon stuff. I'm the 3D Man again. It's just fun. As I was reading this book, I mean, and you guys know we are constantly singing the praises of Atlas on this show. For its writing, for its intelligence, for the solid artwork that it always has. This book, just like all the previous
heroes being heroes.
Heroes being heroes, yeah. And just being a fun book. This is superheroes done in a contemporary manner, but you know, they still have that sort of I don't want to say innocence, because I mean, it's not, innocence is too general a term. But there is an idealism about this. Mm-hmm. You know, this has the idealism of superheroes that I think a lot of other books kind of lose. And Jeff Parker just has a great balance to his scripts where, you know, don't get me wrong, there's violence in here. There's a little sexual innuendo. There's a lot of really challenging storytelling. Point of views are changed. You know, this book does kind of, you know, expect you to be smart to follow it. You know, Parker isn't spoon feeding you everything, and yet at the same time, you know, it doesn't bog you down in the grittiness that a lot of comic books have.
Yeah, and I have to say that on the blog we had a couple people talking about this issue, and it took exception that Atlas wasn't really in it too much. That it was pretty much a 3D man. And they kind of had a problem with that. But here's where I don't have a problem with that. And if Jeff Parker did this, he was very smart to do this, because this.
Wait, hold on. So people were complaining that Atlas wasn't in the book.
Too much. Because it's all about the 3D man.
Okay, so then would these people also complain about an issue of New Avengers where the Avengers don't appear at all?
Yeah.
Like you'll have like the Skrull Jarvis talking through the whole book about Jessica Jones's baby. Well, by the way, a plot point that you'd never hear of again. That's funny. I'm sorry. Not to go on a tangent.
Yeah. So no, but the reason that, first of all, 3D man being reintroduced into Marvel U, into new Heroic Age Marvel U, people need to know what this guy's about.
Right.
Because obviously he's going to be a player in Atlas. But I kind of like the fact that for people who are new to Atlas, who have not read anything else, and as a number one, they want to get new readers in, hopefully that the new readers now have a character that they can follow through and they can identify with if they don't know who Atlas is.
Exactly,
They get to learn who Atlas is
Yes.
when 3D Man and what they're about when 3D Man does. So
Which is clever on Jeff Parker's
right.
part.
So
yeah.
I think that's what he was doing
Oh,
here.
yeah.
So just to give those new readers someone to identify with, so when he does interact with Atlas, everyone will see it through his point of view and they're related a little bit more. But I think that's why this was all about 3D Man in the beginning, in the first story.
I gotta say, this is a cool little book. I mean, to have, okay, first, Ape Man. Okay, let me skip ahead to one of my favorite parts, because we didn't have the little page in the beginning that recaps everything. But so you don't miss that kind of thing. You have the Gorilla Man page where he plugs his new miniseries. Awesome. It just, and it just, I don't know. I'm babbling now, but it's all good babble.
Yeah, but if there is a negative, there was actually only 22 pages of art with wiki padding.
Total, 22 pages total?
Yeah, because the first story was only 17 pages.
Ah, that's right.
And then the backup story was actually 5 pages. So there was still only actually 22 pages of art, which was the big drawback for $3.99. But the series is going to drop down to $2.99 from here on out. But I mean, the 3D Man, a lot of people didn't know who it was, but so maybe some people, and then there was some transcript bullshit in here. But I mean, overall, I would still pay $3.99 for this.
This is the kind of book, in perfect honesty, Jeff Parker has built up such good faith with us that I'm willing to say, because I know Jeff Parker has no control over the price of the book, why hold it against him? And because we really enjoy the book. The reality is now, folks, and we're going to get into this in Last Rants, all the books are going up to $3.99. Can't help it. So now it's time to pick and choose what you want to read. Another book, again, that wowed or knocked our socks off, Thunderbolts by Jeff Parker and
Kev Walker.
Kev Walker. This is a Thunderbolts 144. I'll be honest. The idea of Luke Cage heading the Thunderbolts,
yeah, again,
left me cold.
Yeah, when all this stuff was starting, like all the press releases started to come out for this, I'm like, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah.
I'm like, Luke Cage is going to be leading? I'm like, that's going to be lame.
Stupid.
Yeah, I mean...
And then, of course, Jeff Parker went and just showed why it was a great idea. Yeah. I was like, yeah.
But, I should have known better, because remember when we talked about when New Avengers were in Ages of Atlas, when they, that was the best New Avengers ever looked.
Yeah. Because Jeff Parker knew how to write. He knows how to write a team book.
Right.
He gets team dynamics. He knows how to give each character their own individual moment so they can establish themselves, but then he knows how to put them together. And I would say between this book, between Thunderbolts, and between this and even Secret Avengers with Ed Brubaker, they showed an interesting new way to put a team together.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of getting band together type of thing.
Yeah, but things are happening.
Right.
Things are actually happening in the book, as opposed to, again, Avengers, where hell of a lot of talk. And even here in Thunderbolts, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of talk in this issue, too.
Yeah.
And don't ever think that...
But it's all interesting characters.
It's interesting characterization, right. Because these are characters that we kind of need to get to know how they're going to work in this dynamic.
And again, I mean, Brubaker actually had a new number one. This isn't a new number one, but this is the start of a new storyline. And good writers know that they need to get people in on the ground floor with the first issue.
Right. So the
good writers know that.
Right. And then Parker, who is of course very, he's like Dan Slott. He's like Dan Slott. He knows continuity. He knows characters. He knows all of Luke Cage's history. When you think about it, he establishes very quickly why Luke Cage should be the head of the Thunderbolts. Why? Because he was a prisoner or considered a criminal once himself, and he had to redeem himself. Even though he'll say he was framed, he knew that there was a path to redemption that he needed to take. And he's offering this to all the characters that are put under his watch. And real interesting moments as he encounters each character. Even Luke Cage himself isn't entirely on board with some of the folks that he's being asked to bring on board. Great moment between him and Songbird.
Yeah, Songbird finally back, like, in a book.
Yeah, Songbird back in a book, and not this little passive, defeated little thing. I mean, we're talking...
she's pretty much a second in charge, it looks like, of this team.
Right, she's back to being, well, they've got her in charge of the prison,
Right.
But, I mean, she's back to being that character that writers like Kurt Busiek and Fabian Nicienza and all these other characters have worked so hard to get her to, only to have her beaten back down, by some other writers. And, well, now Songbird's back to where she always should have been.
She's looking pretty badass.
Yeah. Artwork, very solid in this issue. The only thing, I didn't get the whole Marco Kane bit. Juggernaut's looking kind of funky. I don't remember him seeming so disfigured. Maybe something happened with him.
They do allude to, he kind of got depowered in Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah,
that just happened. I don't know why.
Why he would be all lucky. He has like an Emperor Palpatine after getting the Force.
Yeah, but maybe it's just the art style. I mean, Kev Walker, this art was amazing. I wasn't expecting the art to be awesome.
This is great. No, this is great artwork. This is a kind of book where the character designs, you have to walk kind of a fine line with them. Not too cartoony, but you don't want it to be so cartoony that the seriousness of the characters, is kind of lost. But at the same time, it's not too realistic like the De La Roca stuff was. Mm-hmm. No, not De La Roca. Was it De La Roca? I'm thinking about Iron Man. I'm thinking about De La Torre. I'm sorry, De La Torre.
Oh, who did Thunderbolts before.
Who did Thunderbolts before, which, mind you, worked really well.
Right.
His work with Diggle worked really well. It was very dark and moody. This, not as dark and moody as De La Torre stuff. And very, very good. Works perfectly for this.
And I have to say, on this alone, for me to actually like the Moonstone character a little bit after the bullshit that I had to deal with her in Dark Avengers, like, within a couple panels, Jeff Parker just...
Well, it gives us at least a reason.
Because when I saw Moonstones, I'm like, God damn it! Like Moonstone, I'm sad enough with it. But she's snarky, she's sarcastic, she's above everybody else. She's
Emma Frost.
Yeah, and that's how this character should have always been. Like, not like, oh.
No, you're right. I mean, I thought
he's taking characters that I thought I would just be like, why the fuck are they in this book, and actually making it work for me at least.
Well, it just shows, I mean, Jeff Parker knows how to handle female characters. Warren Ellis did a great job with Moonstone when he wrote Thunderbolts.
Mm-hmm.
We all know where we didn't like her.
Yeah, when she was on Dark Avengers banging 3 of the people in Dark Avengers for no apparent reason.
Yeah, okay. So anyway,
Mach 4, or Mach 5 now, is actually part of the team.
See, I really like how, again, Parker brings back all these characters, and I gotta say, my favorite part right here, when you go, WTF, why is this guy in here? Man-Thing on the Thunderbolts. Now, I remember when they first let out that Man-Thing was going to be on the Thunderbolts, a lot of folks are going, huh?
Yeah.
What?
Like, what the fuck?
You know what? There you go. Great reason as to why. And I've always been a big Man-Thing fan. I personally like Man-Thing better than Swamp.
And I like this panel right when Luke Cage looks in there to see what's in there. And Luke Cage really isn't scared of anything, but the look on his face when he sees Man-Thing, you're like, oh man. Like, if Luke Cage is kind of scared of this guy.
Well, I'll tell you again, it's his what the fuck moment, too. Yeah. So, great little moment when they introduce the two characters to each other.
Yeah, Hank Pym's in here. I don't think he's not going to be on a team, but he's in this issue because he's helping them, like...
put everything together.
At the prison.
It all makes sense.
And this Man-Thing doesn't talk at all, but there's this awesome moment between Luke Cage and Man-Thing. Mm-hmm. And the Crossbones was just the one guy. I was like, really?
Yeah. But even Luke Cage says it.
Yeah.
He comes out and he says what every character is thinking. What? No. I don't know. That makes no sense. But, I have enough faith in Jeff Parker here again. Built up a lot of equity with me as far as a creator. For me to say, you know what, I'm gonna let this one ride. I have faith that he knows where he's going with this.
Yeah, but I do like, the fact that they're putting Crossbones on a team is so that everybody else who's kind of on the fence will side with, because he's just so fucking crazy that it'll kind of help people lean towards Luke Cage a little bit more on the team. And
but even Luke Cage himself says, well, what if they go the other way?
Yeah, exactly. But that was the whole reasoning behind it, which makes sense. But the ending, which we're not going to give away because did not see it coming.
Oh, great cliffhanger.
And again, it's an awesome cliffhanger.
And for all of those who said, you might have gotten on us because I was really annoyed that the Avengers became Luke Cage and the Avengers. Guess what? Here you got Luke Cage and the Thunderbolts. This here really makes more sense to me than on Avengers. And this is Luke Cage written as a strong character.
Yep.
Those of you want your Luke Cage fix in a good book, pick this book up.
Yes.
Really, seriously.
That was the problem. Is that it was Luke Cage and the Avengers, but Luke Cage never really did anything. Just he did the same old thing. That
he did a lot of talking too.
Well, but the focus was on him. Whereas there's a reason why he's the main focus on. He's the leader of this team.
Right.
They kind of alluded to maybe he was the leader of the new Avenger, but they never really came out.
Well, it was because it was Luke Cage and the Street Avengers, as they said. So it's not even like that anymore.
I don't know. Again, the characters that they have in here, they actually talk about it, why each person is on a team, and they all have these great moments. It's almost the exact same points that Secret Avengers hit. Would made it good.
And done very well.
Yeah.
All right. So, hey, that's some great stuff Marvel's putting out right now. Very, very heartening to see. And, please, really, these books deserve a lot of support. These creators deserve a lot of support. Get out there and give it to us.
Yeah, I don't want Alice to get canceled again, so you guys can please go out and buy it.
Yeah, please. Atlas, Thunderbolts, I want to see more books like this.
Yes.
I really do. And the only way we see those books is when people buy it.
And drop the bad shit.
When we come back, some more books that just aren't getting the kind of talk they should. We hope you join us.